Hi, it's Tansel here. Now, I just got off a coaching session with a client, and they're studying for their exams, they're studying for their career. And the biggest problem I generally get from any type of student, whether it's a postgraduate student, whether it's a high school student, or those older students going back to study, it's always time management. Not so much getting the knowledge in. Of course, that is a challenge on how you're going to get the knowledge in, how you're going to remember everything. That's why a lot of them do come for me. But the biggest problem I find is, how do you manage all that information and how do you manage your time? So the exercise that we went through was to create a mind map. Now, if you're creating a mind map, what you can do is you can create a mind map of all the subjects you're doing. And within those subjects, if you're doing any assignments, if you have lectures, you have reading materials, assessments, whatever you have in that subject, you can lay it all out. And once you do that, you can then see everything from a bird's eye view of your subjects. Now, if you have everything on your mind map, then you can take a look, right, all your subjects that you've laid out and say that, okay, I've got X amount of work to do in this subject. I've got, wow, a lot to do in this other subject. So it gives you a little indication of how much effort and energy to put into each subject. Now, why is this important? This is important as it focuses the mind to say, okay, this is how much energy I have to put into this particular subject. This is how much time I need to put in to this particular subject. Okay, so this is all preparation so you can manage your time a lot better, because what generally happens is that as a student, you get given the work, you do the work, and then you give it in, and so on. So it's like you're studying blindly. That's what I call it, because you're not really seeing the future. The future is essentially you having to get the work. It's new every time. So if you can cover everything, all the notes, because a lot of stuff's given online these days, right? That gives you an advantage. So you can actually map everything out. You can read in advance if you know the speed reading techniques and other methods as well. You can mind map all your notes. If you know how to do all that, then you can save some time, right? This is really powerful stuff. So managing time, map all your subjects out, everything you have to do in those subjects. And another thing you can do on top of that, and I think this is really key, is give yourself what I call an energy score, right? Now, what an energy score is essentially your gut feeling on how much effort and energy you have to put in to this particular subject. So if one subject, let's say it's, Medicine 101, is about 7 out of 10, that might be, okay, it's on the higher level, but I can manage. Then if you have something like, mathematics, 101 or something like that, and, it is taking more out of you, maybe you know less, then you might score that a 9 out of 10. Or you might score it 9 out of 10 because there's a lot more in there to learn. So mind map all your content, set an energy level. Once you have all that, again, take a look from the bird's eye view and saying, okay, what's going to really mentally take up my energy? Because if you can look at the mind map, look at your subjects from bird's eye level, then you can see where your energy can go, because you don't want to put all your energy into a subject that's like 6 out of 10 when you can prioritize and put a little bit more effort into that 9 out of 10 subject. So it's all about effectiveness of your time. Otherwise, if you don't have these measures, then you'll be putting a few hours there, a few hours there, and a few hours there to subjects that probably don't even need those times as well. So efficiency and effectiveness is the systems that is going to help you. And that's what mind mapping does. So map out those things. Another thing you can also mind map are study times. Now, this is a lot more challenging because we are studying from home. I know a lot of people are at this stage, right, for COVID times. And if you're studying at home, things are a lot more challenging, no doubt, because you've got all this time now. You might have classes, but you've got a lot of time in between. Now, if you've read the book by Flow by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, what he says is that people at work, generally they can focus on about two things. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you've got less things on your mind, you get more done. So people who are at work get more things done there than they're at home, right? And if they're at home, Mihaly says they've got 7 things on their mind, right? And if you've got 7 things, that means you've got a lot more to worry about. And if you've got the same amount of work, guess what's going to happen, right? You're going to be over flooded with things to do, and you're not going to be able to manage your time a lot better, and then nothing gets done because you're mentally overwhelmed. So what you need to do is you need to be able to manage your time in a way where if you've got blank space, schedule it into your calendar. Right? We see this, in a lot of books and even TV shows. I was watching Lucifer, and in Lucifer, they were saying, look, schedule your time in your calendar, right? It's there. There's a lot of these skills and hacks being used by people. So if you're studying and you've got a lot of time, make sure that you schedule this into your calendar, because by doing that, subconsciously, as you're going through your time throughout the day, you might say, oh, no, 10 a.m. is definitely, I'm doing this work, right? 3 p.m., I'm always working on this assignment, right? And you get that, try and streamline that process, because by doing that, you're not saving things for the last minute. And that's essentially worst case scenario. Yeah, you can cram everything in like most people, but if you can manage that first, then you won't need to cram, right? Because you'll already have those skills in place that you'll not only remember a lot better, you'll be more effective as a student. You'll learn a lot better because you've got less things crammed into your head. So that's the key skill I want you to take out. So mind map your subjects, get deep into it too. Don't just say, I've got English, I've got business 101, blah, 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 blah. Say, okay, I've got this subject, here are all the assignments, here are all the articles I have to read. Really get deep into it. So spend a bit of time on each subject. And once you do that, then you can add your energy level, saying, oh, actually, once I mind map this doesn't look like an easy subject. I'm going to have to put a lot of effort in, right? So you'll only know that once you've mapped out that subject. And of course, you'll get a gut feeling when you look at the course content as well, right? So put your energy level there, take another look and see, okay, how can I prioritize my efforts by looking at the mind map? And then finally, what you can do is obviously make that, schedule your time in for your subjects, because once you do that, it's like a little superpower that follows you around, because now you can take that skill and when you're not studying, apply it to your everyday work as well. If you're at home, you've got all these time slots, well, put in the time for reading a book or put in the time for exercise. Don't just leave that out of your calendar, shove it in there, because what's going to happen is you're more likely to do that exercise than to just have it off on the side. It's a little mental hack for you. So there you go. That's one for the students. I hope you've learnt something from that video. Feel free to subscribe and like this video as well, because it does help out a lot of people and it helps me grow the channel as well. We've just passed over 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.